Long ago, in a quiet kingdom nestled between emerald forests and vast, sparkling rivers, there lived 3 girls who were as beautiful as they were proud. Their names were Seraphina, Isolde, and Ilara, and they were known far and wide for their intelligence, grace, and, above all, arrogance. Their wealth was immeasurable, their families influential, and their charm irresistible, but they were notorious for one thing above all: their belief that they were superior to everyone else. The 3 girls often walked through the village with their heads held high, casting scornful glances at the peasants and humble folk who lived there. They would laugh at the farmers in their ragged clothes and the children who ran barefoot in the dirt. Seraphina, Isolde, and Ilara believed that they were destined for greatness and that the people around them existed only to serve them. One day, while the girls were enjoying a stroll through the village, a beggar woman approached them. She was frail, with long silver hair and clothes that looked as though they had seen better days. Her eyes gleamed with wisdom, but there was a quiet sadness in her gaze. "Please, kind ladies," the beggar woman called out, "might you spare a little of your wealth for the poor? I have not eaten in days." The girls stopped in their tracks, exchanging amused glances. Seraphina, the eldest and most outspoken, stepped forward and sneered at the woman. "Do you not see who we are?" Seraphina said, her voice dripping with disdain. "We are the daughters of the noble families. We have no time to waste on beggars like you. You should be grateful for the scraps we might throw your way." The other 2 girls giggled, nodding in agreement. They turned their backs to the woman, walking away with their heads held high. The beggar woman's eyes darkened for a moment, and she whispered a warning under her breath, though none of the girls could hear her words. "Beware, proud ones. Arrogance blinds the heart, and the fall from a great height is the most painful of all." Unbeknownst to the girls, those words would soon shape their destinies. Days passed, and life continued for Seraphina, Isolde, and Ilara. They spent their time attending grand balls, enjoying the finest luxuries, and mocking those they deemed inferior. But little did they know, the forces of nature were already stirring against them, preparing to teach them a lesson they would never forget. It began one quiet evening. The sky turned dark, the wind picked up, and a cold chill settled over the land. At first, it seemed like just another evening storm, but soon the heavens unleashed their full fury. The rain fell in torrents, and the river that flowed near the village began to swell dangerously. The villagers were alarmed, and many sought shelter in their homes. But the girls, locked away in their grand mansion, paid little attention. They had always believed their wealth and power would protect them from anything, even the wrath of nature. As the night wore on, the storm grew fiercer. The wind howled like a wild beast, tearing at the trees and sending debris flying through the air. The river, once a peaceful companion to the village, rose rapidly, flooding the lowlands. By midnight, it had reached the mansion. Seraphina, Isolde, and Ilara awoke to the sound of water rushing through the hallways of their home. The mansion, once a symbol of their grandeur, was now in danger of being swallowed by the flood. Panic set in as the girls rushed to secure the doors and windows, but it was no use. The floodwaters kept rising. Desperate, they tried to escape, but the main entrance was already blocked by the rising river. The girls, terrified for their lives, huddled together in the grandest room of the house, helpless and frightened. Just as hope seemed lost, A figure appeared in the doorway, none other than the beggar woman they had so cruelly rejected days before. Now she stood tall and regal, her frail appearance replaced by an aura of immense power. Her once tattered clothes had transformed into a flowing robe that shimmered with the colors of the sky. Her silver hair now glistened like moonlight, and her eyes burned with wisdom beyond human comprehension. "You again!" Seraphina cried out in disbelief, her voice laced with fear. "What are you doing here? You must help us." The beggar woman smiled sadly. "I offered help before, but you turned me away. Now you must face the consequences of your arrogance." The girls were stunned. They had never imagined that this frail old woman could hold such power. As the floodwaters surged around them, the beggar woman stepped forward, her eyes glowing with ancient knowledge. "You thought your beauty and wealth would save you. You believed that the world existed only for your pleasure," the woman said softly, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. "But now you see, true power comes not from what you possess, but from humility and kindness. You have scorned those who are weaker than you, and now the forces of nature will teach you the lesson you refused to learn." As the woman spoke, the floodwaters continued to rise, filling the mansion, until the girls were waist-deep in water. Their once proud home was slowly being consumed by the river. The storm outside raged on, shaking the very earth beneath their feet. "We cannot survive this," Ilara cried, her voice trembling. The woman gazed at the girls with deep sympathy. "You can, but only if you change your ways. You must open your hearts to humility and repentance. Only then will the storm relent and the floodwaters recede." The girls, desperate and humbled by the sight of their impending destruction, began to weep. They had never truly known hardship, never understood the struggles of those less fortunate than themselves. In that moment they realized how wrong they had been. As the girls cried out for forgiveness, the beggar woman nodded, her expression softening. Slowly, the storm began to subside. The floodwaters, once overwhelming, began to recede, and the wind died down to a gentle breeze. The mansion, though still damaged, had not been completely swept away. The beggar woman extended her hand to the girls. "You are not beyond redemption," she said. "But remember, true strength lies in kindness, humility, and the ability to recognize your place in the world." From that day forward, Seraphina, Isolde, and Ilara changed. They abandoned their arrogance and devoted themselves to helping others. They worked alongside the villagers, rebuilding homes, offering food and shelter to the needy, and living lives of service. Their beauty and wealth were no longer their defining features. Humility, compassion, and a deep sense of gratitude became the core of who they were. The storm that once threatened to destroy them had, instead, transformed them into wiser, more humble individuals. And as for the beggar woman, she disappeared as mysteriously as she had come, leaving behind only the lesson she had imparted. And so, the girls learned that the destruction of arrogance could lead to the birth of something much greater, a life filled with love, kindness, and a deep connection to others.